Yeah, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. In this little video I want to take a look at some GripIts fixings that I'm using to install some Navaris shelves to enable me to display my old vintage insulation tester collection. These GripIts fixings, I'd not come across them before. I think they're absolutely fantastic. They're working really well for me. I'll get into installing them in a bit. You can get them from Screwfix in the UK, or you can buy them direct from GripIts. I'll leave links in the description box down below so you can find them if you want them. Navaris Shelves, they're from a German company, but they have an Amazon shop. Unfortunately, I've not been getting on with these so well, but I'll go into them more towards the end of the video and the issues I've been having with them. So let's take a closer look at these GripIts fixings. Okay, so these are my little GripIts fixings. They are in 4 sizes. I've got the 2 smaller sizes, which is the yellow here for 71 kilograms and the red here for 74 kilograms. They do a brown one and a blue one as well. These 2 here use a self-tapping screw that screws into the centre of the GripIt, and then as you'll see the little wings open out behind, and then as you tighten this up it will compress everything together and hold the bracket in place. The other 2 that I don't have, the larger ones, they have threaded inserts in there instead of self-tappers. I believe they're M6 and M8 if I remember correctly, but I'll leave links in the description box below should you want to investigate them further. What I'm actually installing onto is 11mm sterling board that is mounted onto battens, and then in between the battens and directly behind the sterling board I've fitted Celotex. And I'll put some pictures up of the actual wall being built. If you don't know what Celotex is, it's quite a hard insulation, solid insulation foam. So these would be the options that I would normally use for mounting onto a board with insulation behind. And as you can see, these require a fair bit of depth to go through. In actual fact, once I've drilled the hole in the sterling board, these would almost bridge all the way through the depth of the Celotex behind. It's 42mm Celotex behind. So these ones here that you have to fan out, feed them through the hole, and then they open out, pull up behind the board and clamp in a similar manner to these. The other issue that you can have with these, with the Celotex being in place, is I don't know how well these would actually open up. They need to sort of crush the Celotex out of the way, which they may not do very well. He might, but he's metal, and I was concerned the depth I was going to drill, I might create a thermal bridge, especially with it being metallic, and that will give you damp spots on the wall. So this little GripIt solves 2 main issues that I have with trying to use these, namely the depth. So all I have to do with these is drill just through the depth of the sterling board, and we've got a little bit behind there, the depth of those little wings, which are 1/8 of an inch, about there. And then with these little GripIts, they also make little cutout tools, which are these 2 little items here. You need the right cutout tool for the actual size GripIt, so that's one for the yellow one, a slightly larger one for the red one there. And what these are designed to do, because these are really designed for dot and dab plasterboard installations where you glue the plasterboard direct onto the wall, if you hit a spot of glue where you want to install this, you can then put the tool through the hole you've drilled, circle it around, and it will cut out what's behind the plasterboard to allow the wings to open out into that space. So this is a little ideal solution for me, in that I can drill my hole, put this through, and then this will cut out the Celotex behind, and then I can mount this up and it will spread the wings out and clamp into position. The only thing I am having to do with these are quite a little flange, which if you're knocking these into plasterboard, I imagine the plasterboard just gives way, but the sterling board that I'm mounting onto won't. So I've had to countersink the outside of this a little bit to allow this to sit flush to the surface of the board. And then besides that, all I really need to install these is obviously the drill that you need for drilling the holes. The 2 holes that I'm drilling, they vary on the size of the grip it that you're using. The yellow one here is a 15mm one, the red one is 18mm, but with both of these I'm actually countersinking 25mm, as I say, to allow this to sit flush. And then they literally just tap in position, which I'm using the wee little hammer here for. Sometimes if they don't go too well, and to save you marring the surface of the board, I put this around, or on top of the grip it I should say, and smack them into position with that. That saves damaging the surface. And then the only other thing you do then is a little screwdriver to turn the wings of the gripit out. So it will do it with the screw when you install it, but you can do it with a screwdriver as well, just by turning the slots. And you see, hopefully my fingers are out of the way and it's opened up like that. And then you just tighten up the screw with your bracket in position, and it's all tight and secure. And I guess the other good advantage with these is that technically these are reusable. As you saw, as I did with the screwdriver there, as you undo it, the wings actually fold back in, and then you'd be able to extract this. Whereas these ones, certainly the metal one, once you've put that in position, that's done for. You can't reuse that. And the plastic ones are pretty much the same, really. You'd never get them out of the wool. They'd be damaged to some greater extent, so you probably wouldn't want to. So yeah, that's the little GripIts itself. We'll move on to installing them into one of the actual walls and show you what I've been up to. So you can see here, this is one that I've already prepared, and I've counterboarded the 25mm cutter first, so it will sit in there, and then you drill the hole, which is 15mm for these ones, so slightly strange size for the GripIts, and then you put the tool in and then cut out around. See, it's moving around easy because I've already done it, and then that will give the area for these to fit into, and then I'll be able to fit the brackets up. Before I actually install these into the holes that I've drilled, I do actually paint around this area, because I'll show you one of the brackets now, and you'll see the one downside to these: if you've got bracket you're putting on the wall is not very large, you will find that you can see these around the outside of the bracket. Let's just reset the camera. So hopefully you can see just here, because the bracket is relatively small and the holes are quite close to the edge that hold them in place, you can see a little bit of the actual GripIt fixing sticking out behind the bracket. So that's the only real downside that I've found to these devices. If you have got a bracket that's quite small, you might be able to be sticking out behind it. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. As I said, this is a little workshop environment for me. I just want to get some shelves up to put my little insulation tester collection on. So the actual quality of it all is not quite so important for me, especially if you consider it is just a sterling board wall that's been painted, whitewashed anyway, so you can see all the pattern of the sterling board coming through. So a few little GripIts sticking out from behind a bracket or two just isn't going to matter to me that much. Okay, once the hole is drilled, it's just a matter of tapping these into position. It does tell you in the instructions to mount these in a manner almost with these 2 pins at 45 going across, so that the wings at the back, when they're opened up, will be top and bottom in the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock positions, if you like. That gives it the most strength. So things are a little bit tight with these ones. Again, probably because of the sterling board that they're being installed into. But once they're in, and then I can just tap them at home. They can go in with a hammer a little bit, and then sometimes if they need it, just a little tap with a bit of tube on there, just to seat them properly. And that's it all done. And then just a case of turning these. You push this in a little bit and then turn it so that the slots line up across. And now that's fully located and ready to be used. The screw will be screwed into the little centre hole there, and we'll pull it all tight and make it all secure. Okay, to go through some of the issues that I've been seeing on these Navaris shelves, what I thought I'd just do is open this one up together, and you can see what's been happening. We'll see if this pack manages to redeem itself. So this particular box that I've got has 3 shelves in it. It says on the front here, if we can get this in focus, it's a 43 centimetre, 33 centimetre and a 23 centimetre long shelf there, and you get 5 of the little pipe brackets to install them with. You also get a screw set as well. I say they're from Navaris, which is a German company. You can see down the bottom here. However, they are made in China. So let's have a look at what we've got. These are pipe brackets. And put them out the way. You get a set of instructions, although it's pretty obvious as to what you're doing. So they shouldn't be needed really. Get this bit of packaging out of the way, and then you end up with 3 shelves wrapped up in this little bit of film. Get him out of the way, and then we've got our bag of screws here. Let's deal with these first. So you get these little white plastic raw plugs in there, not the best of quality, but I guess it would probably do the job. You get these longer screws for actually attaching them to the wall to go in these wall plugs. I found these to be really weak, not very strong at all. I wouldn't be comfortable, especially with some of the insulation testers that I've got are actually quite heavy. Although the shelves are supposed to take 15 kilos each, but not good. But there's ones I've been using, so this was the first one I ever used. You can see it's just sheared off, and this was just tightening up with a hand screwdriver actually. The other bit's still in the wall somewhere, I can't get that out. So yeah, I've just binned these and replaced them with a different screw. It is much stronger, so I'm not going to use them at all. You do get these little short ones that are used to hold the bottom of the bracket onto the shelf, which are fine. They've been used. You do get just the right number of screws that you need. There is no spares involved with any of these, so if you do break or damage something or lose and drop them, then you will be short and have to go out and get some more. Okay, so let's look at shelves themselves. Let's see, these ones look to be all, so these ones are all flat, these are okay. They are marked up a little bit. These are quite well drilled as well for holes for the bracket, so a little bit better. We'll just see if they are square on the ends, because I've had one of the shelves that isn't overly square. Yeah. It's not so not sure how well you can see here. There's a little bit of a gap here. This doesn't look like this shelf is too square, but up on the wall I don't think you really see it that much. But we'll just check the other ones, see what they're like. They're pretty much the same. Neither somebody's cross-cutting saw isn't set up square, is it? They're all pretty much the same, just slightly out. Let's have a look at the brackets and see how we get on with them. These I've had very mixed results with. It's not too bad, which is really, you see, this is what you tend to get. Let's see if I can show them on the square there. We're flat on the bench surface there. And you can see if I hold him up there, that plate just isn't on square at all. Fairly easy to adjust in. I've just been smacking the edge of them till they knock over. That one's not too bad, although this side is not so good. Been knocked down there, so pretty poor quality control for the shelves really. And yeah, not too bad. Not the end of the world, but just out of fraction. That one will knock back in quite easy. I'll show you some of the issues on the shelves I've actually installed. Just run through those pictures so you can have a look at them. Yeah, not sure how well you can see on this one here. I'll perhaps take a picture of it and zoom in, but you can see there's an actual split along the front edge of this, as though they've glued on another piece of wood onto the actual shelf. Again, it's not overly noticeable once the shelf is up. Unfortunately, you're just kind of aware that it's there once you've seen it the once, but to somebody coming in, hopefully not so noticeable. So another little fault I can see here, I found this on a couple of the shelves. They're just not flat. If I place a ruler across the top of this one, you'll see this one's got quite a curve to it. Unfortunately, that is quite badly noticeable in the corner there, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that just yet. As I say, I've seen it on a couple of the other shelves as well. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll leave you with a shot here of some of the installation testers sitting on the shelving that I've installed up until now. I hope you found it useful. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate the time you spent, and I'll see you again in the next video.